here, the wannabe entrepreneurs, the young ones here that are looking to become entrepreneurs, learn the language of enterprise. There's far too much of it. You need to know a lot of stuff. You need to be like Superman and Wonder Woman. You need legal stuff, finance stuff, marketing stuff, sales stuff, team stuff, HR stuff, everything. You need to understand the language. And once you get past the idea, if your university can't teach you, watch television. Okay? Honestly, simpler. You can go off classes, do it at night on the internet. Build social networks for which you need trust and reciprocity. So very fundamental values. And you need to immerse yourself in the ecosystem and coming to places like this, because this is where you learn from people who have track record. You get ideas, you get juxtaposition of teams, resources, funding. And please start by doing small things, just do stuff. And this is where the Cambridge Python is so useful. It gets that first few steps going for people. And again, I believe that ideas are very cheap. It's the implementation that's tough. We have a simple rule we talk to our students about. For every dollar you spend on generating the idea, you need 3 to prove it and 10 to take it to market. Instead of 1, 3, 10 rule. And a lot of common sense. So, thank you very much. Nice to talk to you. I guess we have time for questions, Camille? Yeah? Okay. While we're waiting for anyone that's interested in any of the programs we run at Cambridge, I brought some nice glossy things here for you to take away.
So, questions?
Are you aware of the history of the Dragon's Den program in other countries than Great Britain? Because, there is none in Poland, but in Australia, one was
yes.
aired for less than a year and then was scrapped.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what culture has to do. Aussies say that they tend to invest in real estate, just as you said. And there's a lot of cultural complaint about that. Any other countries, any other experiences?
No, I think there are similar things like investing in inventors, tycoons. There's all sorts of things like that going on. The Apprentice is spreading. There are other types of programs of a similar nature, but they haven't had the sustainability of Dragon's Den, because I think real money is changing hands, and maybe the characters on television are more interesting, the so-called dragons. Maybe that's one of the cases. I don't want to make a remark about Australians, but I think the guys that they have on British television are quite engaging. And it's run by a very good anchor, who is actually an economist, on the Evan Davis from BBC. He's actually a smart guy. So I think there's a number of things, and Britain has 65 million people in it. So that also might make a difference. It's a sheer scalability issue. But certainly if you can try it, please do.
Yes, my name is Jerzy Cieślik. I'm also academic and teaching entrepreneurship.
Excellent.
So, but your center is a center of entrepreneurial learning. So I understand that you believe that entrepreneurship can be learned
Yes.
and can be taught.
Yes.
Yeah, we are on the same line.
Yes.
Then the more practical question is, how the entrepreneurship courses are incorporated in the regular curricula, let's say engineering student at Cambridge or Reading. I'm not talking about incubating, but regular curriculum.
Sure. So we did a lot of experiments in the early days, 2001, 2003, that sort of period. Now we're settling into, at the moment, 4 types of programs, which will become 5 in 2009. And the first one Camille talked about was Enterprise Tuesday, which is just purely what happened when we started that. We called it Basics of Building a Business. In reality, if you want to learn about the basics of building a business, you don't go to Cambridge University. You go work for a businessman somewhere. When you go to Cambridge University, you're going there because you're interested in, A to Z, from astronomy to zoology. And so business is the last thing on your mind. So what we had to do was to just raise awareness and step back and say, look, if you're interested, just come and look at this stuff and listen to it and see if it makes sense for you. And if it does, come and talk to us a bit more. So there was a sense of humility in what we were trying to do. So trying to take, if you like, to inspire and to inform, nothing more. And I think that has paid off. So one level is, and it's people, students from all over the university actually, literally from departments A to Z, a few of each, mostly engineers and chemists and MBAs, but there's a lot of other people as well. So that's just pure awareness stuff. The second one is called Ignite, which is at the end of every summer, and students have to find money to come on that program. That is, I have an idea, what do I do next? And we give them a total immersion. It's like a pressure cooker. We put them in. So we have about 50 delegates per year, but the program is facilitated, taught, enabled, etc., by about 120 people from around the Cambridge area. It's taken us several years to build up that, and now the people who help us out, people like yourselves, now they say, when's the next one happening? When can we put it in our diary, make sure we're available that week? So it's become that they really want to engage. So that's the second. The third, so those are not credit bearing. The third one we now call Emerging Technologies Entrepreneurship. That started as a modest course in the physics department. So I taught entrepreneurship in the third year of physics. The word spread, and chemical engineering said, could we have the same course, material science? And now some other departments are coming in. And we said, actually, what we were teaching was, strategy made simple. I was not happy with the early stuff. It was to do with teaching these young people how to write a business plan. It's not they're undergrads. They're probably going to go and work in a bank somewhere, sadly, although they've done physics and chemistry and stuff. So we said, actually, what we want to do is to do two things. The most problematic area of entrepreneurship is recognizing the opportunity. When is an idea a business? So we just focus on that now. And so we take our students through a common set of lectures. We've combined these departments, and we now work with them on the skills they need to understand when something out of physics or chem eng or whatever, how do you test the viability of this? And then they give a report back to the academic faculty. So let's say Professor Famous from physics gives us a project. We then work with the students, and they do a report, or a due diligence if you like, and they provide that back to the prof. So that's the third level. And we also run that for MBAs. And now this year on the MBA program, we will combine students, the postgrads from other departments, chemistry, biochemistry, veterinary school, medicine, etc. We'll sit with our MBA students. And the fourth one we have, which is a real culture shifting thing, which came out of our collaboration with MIT, is called Enterprisers. And that's purely about building social skills and self-confidence among our students. So bright as they are, that is something that, it's something they want to take with them. It's a transferable skill, if you like. So ETE, Emerging Technology, is probably the nearest thing to answering your question, but we feel that we need to have a portfolio approach so that any student in the university can take any aspect of entrepreneurship and feel they have been touched by it and get some awareness. And we support the student societies, Cambridge University Entrepreneurs and Cambridge University Technology Entrepreneurship Club, two of them. One runs a business plan competition, the other runs a venture capital conference. And we support them as much as we can so that they then have an influence. Long answer, but big question. Thank you.
I've been called to serve as a moderator for this discussion.
Yes.
My request to the audience is to give me enough staff to moderate. Are there any other questions? If I may intervene myself, could you comment this slide, which represents more or less this over the screen? It represents more or less the Polish reality. Every agent is in place, and only the red one is Honey giving stuff. Honey is a good rim to money. It's perhaps a start to a nice limerick. But how to make the process to work? Because everything is in place, but the situation is far from being satisfactory.
Well, it's a very interesting diagram. It's, if you like, the stakeholder model in a way, that the poor old inventor is expected to learn the language of all these people.